Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the junk room. It's time to get junky with the junk room. Oh, sorry about that. Hit the camera there. Felt like an earthquake, didn't it? Ooh, you thought Charlton Heston was going to come in here and help me with a video, but sadly is not. And what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to look at things from Star Wars that made you cool, but if you also had the other thing that's kind of like it from Star Wars, it made you a dorky nerd. That's right. Some things when it comes to Star Wars just means you're super cool. But other times it means you're a super dork. Yeah, you're probably saying, Junkman, what are you talking about? What do you mean by this? Well, let's take a look at this first one right here. A Darth Vader wallet. I believe this is from Return of the Jedi. And if you had this walking around your school and you pulled this out in the lunchroom and you're like, hey, Bobby, I'm going to buy you a pizza because today's Square Pizza Day. You pull out that wallet, everybody will look and say, oh my God, that's the coolest kid in the 7th grade. But let's say a few years later, you're in the 7th grade still, and you pull out your wallet and it's Princess Kessa, however you say it, the princess from the Ewoks wallet, just not as cool. You probably get laughed at. Even the lunch lady will laugh at you and probably hit you with her spatula. Rightly so, rightly so. So as you can see, that's something that's cool. That's also not cool when it comes to Star Wars. What about reading a book? I know that's very risky to be seen reading a book. You can look like a nerd. You don't want to look like a nerd, but if you read a 1977 Star Wars pop-up book, you'll look pretty cool. You're sitting in the library in the 8th grade and you're like, what are you reading? Is that Gone with the Wind? No, it's Star Wars, the pop-up book. You're like, that's awesome. Let me see it. Let me pop up that X-Wing. But on the other hand, if you had the Jar Jar Shapes book, that's not cool at all. You know, this is a book where every page is shaped like Jar Jar Binks. I'll say that again. Every page is shaped like Jar Jar Binks. You know, that can't be cool right there. Well, what about having Star Wars money? In 1985, you could have a Millennium Falcon Power of the Force coin, and all your friends would be jealous. Your friends would be saying stuff like, oh, I got the B-Wing coin. Or they may say something like, oh, I got Clay too. But if you had a Falcon, you were super cool. Everyone's jealous of you. But if you had a Falcon Benham's Just Toys coin, no one gave a shit. No one thought you were cool. No one even talked to you. In fact, some of your old-time friends will probably start telling people they never even heard of you. So what else is there? Well, how about Return of the Jedi desk to do your homework and stuff in? Back in 1983, if you had this Return of the Jedi desk, you were the coolest kid in the neighborhood. Kids would come over and say, hey, let me go over to Junk Kid's house so I can do my homework there, Mom. Please, I want to do my homework at a Star Wars desk. Well, let's say it was years later and you didn't have a desk anymore. All you had was an Anakin Skywalker rocking chair. No one's coming over to sit in your Anakin Skywalker rocking chair. They may come over so they can look at you sit in it, so they can then kick your butt up and down the street, and that's what you deserve for having an Anakin Skywalker rocking chair. What about a lunchbox? Every year I had a new lunchbox. It showed how cool you were. You could take something to school. You didn't have to worry, the teacher can say, hey, don't bring a toy to school. Lunchbox, express yourself like a backpack. Show people who you are. And I came to school with a Star Wars lunchbox. Metal, of course. Don't come to school with a plastic lunchbox. Oh, no, you don't do that. So you come to school with your metal Star Wars lunchbox, and you're the envy of the whole school. But what do you not want to show up with? This Clone Wars vinyl lunch tote. It's not even a lunch box. It's not metal. It's not shaped like a box. It's one of those tote bags you can step on and it just form back into the same shape. It's horrible. Don't put your kids' lunch in that. I'd rather go to school just holding the bologna sandwich in my hand all day than take my food in this thing. Whew, let's see what else. Now, back in 1978 through 1978, every month you could get a Star Wars magazine poster book. This was a magazine, but you had posters inside to take out, hang it on your wall. You'd be like the only kid in the neighborhood that had a Tusken Raider poster. Everyone wanted to know, where'd you get all this cool Star Wars to decorate your room with? You were the envy of the neighborhood. But you wasn't the envy of the neighborhood if you had the Star Wars Jedi Quest Comlink magazine. Yeah, you made a Comlink that came with the Star Wars toys. They had their own magazine. I want to kick my ass just for knowing they made that. Okay, how about this one? In 1980, you had a birthday party and you invited all your friends over and you had the coolest party hat ever. You had the Empire Strikes Back with Boba Fett on it. Party hat at your birthday party. Maybe it was at Showbiz Pizza, who knows? But you were the kid. Everyone was like, oh man, your mom is so cool. She gave you an Empire Strikes Back theme party for your birthday. That's awesome. Well, a few years later, if you tried that with your Ewok party hat, you ain't never getting invited to another party, and no one's ever showing up to a birthday party you have ever again. No way, not with an Ewok party hat. What about puzzles? Who didn't love putting together puzzles? Well, I didn't really like them. They were kind of aggravating. But if I put one together, it was ones like this. Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan, the puzzle. It was awesome. My brother had this one. I had one. I think it was the Falcon. But we loved putting these puzzles together. They were made by Kenner. And like Kenner said, if it's Kenner, it's fun. And they were right. It was fun. Do you know what's not fun? A puzzle that looks like Jar Jar Binks' face. And it's not even a real puzzle. It's some kind of like slide puzzle. Now, it's not one of those awful puzzles that has like one piece missing. You got to slide all the puzzles. Don't you hate that? It's like you got to slide it all around. Oh, I used to have those to play with in the car. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a pitcher, but it's like a little piece of plastic and you got to slide the tiles. God, I hated those. Hated those. And this isn't that, but those are both pretty bad. Well, let's say you're at school and you want to be the guy that tells everyone when school's over. They come to you. Hey, junk kid, when's school getting out? You have about 10 more minutes. And you could tell them that if you had a Darth Vader watch. And they will all be impressed. They were like, hey, I know school gets out in 10 minutes because he has a Darth Vader watch. And a Darth Vader watch, it can't be wrong. Well, what if you didn't have that? Didn't even matter watch. What if you had a Clone Wars clock? One thing, you don't want a clock in your bedroom. Sorry, you don't want to. Maybe it's a digital clock with a radio. That's okay. But you don't want a clock in your room. That's too nerdy right there. A clock in your room. Ugh. Let's look at one more. Let's go back to 1983. You're at school. You make a mistake on your test. I know it's unlikely, but you made a mistake in your desk. So you take out your eraser that's Boba Fett, and you can erase your answers. Although you don't want to erase with it. You don't want to mess it up because it's Boba Fett, and it's an eraser. And it's pretty darn awesome. Now, there was another eraser that would get you laughed at school, and you didn't mind erasing with it, because the more you erased it, the less people would likely know what it was. And that's a Watto eraser. Who would want a Watto eraser? Boba Fett eraser? Sure, sign me up. Watto eraser? No, thank you. Only if you could erase my memory of an Anakin Skywalker rocking chair. Anyway, that's a look at some Star Wars things that made you cool, and some Star Wars things that made you a dork. Well, I want to thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below. Did you have any of these? I bet you did. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thumbs up my content. Subscribe to the channel. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.